Hi, everybody, and welcome to Beyond Politics. There's a disastrous article out there in the news that's trending right now about the state of South Africa's military and the fact that we are absolutely defenseless. And bringing that to light should raise certain questions for us, such as what role does sovereignty play in the future of this, not just South Africa, but also the world?
And one of the MPs in Parliament have actually said that we don't have a navy and we don't have an air force. This is something that Laura and I have been speaking about for a very long time because it plays into sovereignty, And I wonder how many people actually want sovereignty. There's a lot of people, even in politics in South Africa, and political leaders in parties that say that we should be an open border. That the fact that we are a South African Republic and that we have borders is a Western construct and that we should do away with this. And you could tell us in the comments how you feel about something like that. And I know it's a very emotive thing because in the past there weren't borders. The United Nations created borders around the world. And a lot of people aren't happy with those borders. It's a complex thing that happened subsequent to World War II. But here we have situations where our troops have been killed in foreign nations like the DRC, and we Congolese Air Force had to go and support our troops because we don't have the aircraft to actually do the work.
And I'm quite sure that politicians in the know, understanding Agenda 21 and all the rest, probably realize that sovereignty will be a thing of the past if the World Economic Forum and similar organizations get their way, if the fourth industrial revolution takes root across the entire world, which so far looks like is the case. And so from a local perspective, from a South African perspective, one role that national government has, in my opinion, is to strengthen the state and to make sure that we are strong against international threats. But we don't have that. We don't have a national identity, we don't have a strong military, and we don't have a government that's looking after the interests of the country and its people at all. So we have that local problem, that government isn't doing one of the most basic functions, and that's protecting us from outside threats. Then on a more global perspective, the new global order, as has been quoted by many a world leader for years and years now, I don't think that sovereignty plays a role. I think we'll reach a point where countries won't even have a military budget anymore because we are all ruled by global principles. And that sounds wonderful to many people, peace and all the rest. Peace, love and happiness and all the rest, but it's actually not practical. And the danger in that is when you remove the military might of sovereign states, you can't rise up against a global tyrannical monster if ever you feel like your rights are being infringed upon.
Well, losing all your freedoms is a big part of the problem. And in this article, and we'll give you a link in the description below, it highlights that we only have 6 military aircraft that are serviceable right now. In other words, that can actually fly. And of those is one Oryx helicopter, which is just a service helicopter, a utility helicopter. So it can't go and shoot at anything. The Gripens, only 2 of them, and Hawk trainers, which is not used in combat, 3. So we are defenseless when it comes to our Air Force at this stage. So you can go and read in the article the stats. There will also be a file that you can read on our Telegram channel. So go and join our Telegram channel. The link is in the description below, where you can read it there if you're not subscribed. But it's a fairly long article that talks about this daunting situation we find ourselves in. And the one thing I think of when I look at this situation, and we've spoken about the fact that we are sitting ducks in South Africa, is that recently they spoke of Eskom, how the Eskom demand is decreasing, the power demand is decreasing, and that Eskom is going to run out of anyone to supply with electricity. And you have to ask yourself, why is this happening? They speak about the fourth industrial revolution. They speak about people changing from big steel mills. We used to manufacture our own aircraft. Danell used to manufacture tanks and armored vehicles, all sorts of things. We're not doing that anymore. They are literally scaling down our steel industry. But it didn't happen because that happened first. It happened because Eskom experienced problems first. Because Eskom couldn't supply the electricity, these factories closed down, or steel smelters decided to not open their business. So the narrative they are spinning is the wrong way around. They are actually screwing us over, and our government has been complicit in this for decades now.
It makes me think of Bill Gates a while back was really promoting small-scale reactor operators. And now with the rise, especially in South Africa, the rise of data centers, it's so easy for Eskom to completely fall apart, leave the citizens without power, but private entities will still be able to run small-scale reactor operators for their specific functions, such as data centers. And people, I don't mean data call centers, I mean data centers,
Massive.
the backbone to artificial intelligence infrastructure.
And that comes back to global control, our sovereignty as individuals as well as a country. And a lot of people but why should we be sovereign? If you want to keep your identity, your culture, your religious beliefs, this global system will do away with all of that.
If you just want to hold on to the family unit as it stands.
Exactly.
It's
Male,
that
female,
simple.
age, uncles, aunts. The way that society is constructed at the moment, these people believe that all of these constructs needs to be done away with. And on this channel, Beyond Politics, we speak about this at length. Many other people will not touch this topic. But here, we speak about it passionately. And if you go to our website, beyondpolitics.co.za, we offer solutions to the public to strengthen themselves so that the citizens can be strong. You spoke about the state earlier, and the state being strong. We are part of the state.
So
A lot of people forget that.
the failed state is making us weak to global interests.
Correct. If-
That's the only function of government right now.
If we are strong, then the state is strong. The state of our nation will be strong. We don't need a government to protect us then if we can protect ourselves. But we are spending taxpayers' money, and we've spoken about this at length. And now 22 cents in every rand on repaying the interest on our debt.
Insane.
60% in every tax rand on paying government salaries. And this is not the politicians elected people. They're a fraction of that money. It is a massive bureaucracy. And the African National Congress, the Democratic Alliance, the Economic Freedom Fighters, MK, all of these parties that are there in government, they want government to be stronger. It puts them in a stronger position. They want to get more funding for parties.
Yeah, but don't get confused. They want the government to get bigger, not necessarily stronger. They definitely don't want the military to get
No,
stronger.
them to get stronger. The parties themselves. And when they get your taxpayers' money, which you are getting, and this is a big subject for debate, we want them to stop funding parties from the taxpayers. You show me another place in the world where the parties in power are funded by the taxpayers that might not even support them. This is a big issue and that needs to change. And that comes to governance system change.
It does. Let us know in the comments how you feel. Would you support ending all government funding to political parties? I think it's a long time overdue, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Especially if you are members of political parties, let us know. There's a lot in the system that needs to change, and defining the role of government is one of them. Our government, or governments worldwide, like I said, are just instruments to make the populace weak and defenseless to global powers. And we can see this playing out in South Africa with not just Eskom and not just the military, but also our water infrastructure and so much more, our economy that's declining ever more. And we need to make sure that we can strengthen ourselves no matter what's going on around us. And that's why we offer citizens empowerment training. You can find out details on how to apply for that on our website, beyondpolitics.co.za.